The second I stepped back into the apartment, I knew something had happened. The music hadn't stopped. The conversations were still buzzing. But everything felt wrong, like walking into a room where everyone was pretending nothing just exploded. I still had my phone in my hand, call log open, my brother's name glowing on the screen. But I couldn't hear a thing anymore. Just the pounding in my ears. Mallory wasn't where I left her. She had been sitting on the faded blue armchair when I walked out to take the call, laughing with her wine glass raised. Fake laughing too loud like she always does when she's had more than 2 glasses or wants someone to think she's carefree. Her boots were off, one leg tucked under the other, her phone upside down on the coffee table. I noticed that. I remember thinking, she never puts it face down unless she doesn't want me to see something. Anyway, that was maybe 7 minutes ago. Now, the armchair was empty. Her glass, was tipped over on the rug. No one around it. No one cleaning it up. Just slowly leaking red into the fabric like a wound. It wasn't broken, just knocked over. Like someone left in a rush. I stood there too long, just staring at that damn spill. Someone behind me laughed. Not at me. At something dumb, I'm sure. A party story. A punchline. I didn't care. I looked around, and I still couldn't find her. Not in the kitchen. Not near the balcony. Not in the hallway talking with anyone. But I saw him. Kellen. Sitting back on the couch, smirking at his phone. Hair messy. Cheeks flushed. Same shirt he always wore to show off his forearms. Mallory once joked about them when she thought I wasn't listening. I stared at him. And I swear to God, he looked up at me like he knew I was about to figure it out. Like he wanted me to. Like this was part of the game. That's when I noticed it. His belt. His fly. Undone. Not wide open. But not buttoned either. Just hurried. I wanted to vomit. Right there, next to the chips and onion dip. I wanted to grab the coffee table and flip it. But instead I just stood there, blinking like some idiot background character in his own life. I told myself, go home. Don't ask. Don't look. Don't open any doors. But of course I did. Of course I opened the guest bathroom door, because it was the only one shut in the whole apartment. And the light was on underneath. I didn't knock. I didn't breathe. I just opened it. And what I saw, it was like time stopped the moment the door creaked open. No creaky horror movie sound, no dramatic gust of wind. Just the quiet, smooth swing of a bathroom door giving way to something I was never supposed to see. At first, all I saw was the mirror. The fluorescent light was harsh, like those old gas station bulbs that make everything feel sterile and awful. And then I saw her, Mallory, reflected in that mirror, jolting back like she'd just been caught committing a crime. And in a way, she had. She wasn't alone. He was standing too close. Kellen, shirt wrinkled, belt still dangling half open, like he hadn't finished fixing himself before I barged in. Mallory's hands were trembling, like she didn't know whether to shove him away or explain something that could never be explained. And her eyes, God, her eyes, she looked straight at me like I'd just shown up to my own funeral. Guilty, wide, panicked, but not surprised. I didn't say anything. Couldn't. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. I think my brain was trying to understand what my eyes had already accepted. Her lipstick was smudged. His neck had her gloss on it. Her phone, her always hidden phone, was clutched in her hand, and I swear I saw her thumb press something like she was deleting evidence mid-heartbeat. Kellen had the audacity to shrug. Literally shrugged. Like I'd walked in on them choosing bathroom wallpaper. Like I was the one being unreasonable. I wanted to scream, to hit something, anything, but all I did was laugh. A small, breathy, pathetic laugh that didn't sound like it came from me. Mallory whispered my name, quietly, like saying it gently would unsee what had already shattered everything. Eli. I turned and walked out. Not because I forgave her, not because I couldn't take it, but because I didn't want them to see me fall apart. I didn't want her to witness the moment I broke. I walked past people still clinking glasses, still swapping stories, still trapped in a party I no longer belonged to. I don't even know how I made it to the hallway. I think someone asked if I was okay. I didn't answer. I sat on the steps outside for I don't know how long. My phone was still in my hand, screen black now. I could see my reflection in it. Red eyes, jaw twitching, a man I didn't recognize. And then her texts started coming in. One after another. Eli, please. Can we talk? You didn't see what you think. That one made me want to hurl the phone across the parking lot. I didn't see what I think. I saw enough. More than I ever wanted to. The worst part? It didn't even feel like an explosion. It felt like a quiet, silent undoing. Like someone snipped a single thread, and my whole life just fell apart without noise. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel angry. I felt stupid. Used. Like I'd been the punchline to a joke they were whispering behind my back this whole time. But I wasn't done. Because when I finally stood up to leave, I didn't go home. I turned around and walked back up the stairs. Not for revenge. Not for closure. I was going to get proof. And what I found next was so much worse than anything I saw in that bathroom. I didn't even know what I was doing until I was already back inside. My legs moved on their own, like my body had decided that if my brain couldn't figure things out, it would go hunting for the truth itself. I walked through that living room like a ghost. Nobody noticed. That's what gets me. Not one person even looked up. I could have been invisible. Maybe I always was. I didn't head toward the bathroom again. That ship had sailed. I needed more. Not because I wanted it. I didn't. But because something inside me needed it. Some sick, pathetic part of me thought, if I have the full picture, maybe I'll stop blaming myself. Maybe I won't feel like such a fool. So I looked around for her bag. I knew Mallory never went anywhere without it. I found it in the hallway, half-zipped, tossed on top of a laundry basket like it didn't matter. I took it, walked right into the host's office, and shut the door behind me. I should feel guilty about what I did next, but I don't. She gave up the right to privacy the moment she let him put his hands on her. Her phone was locked. I already knew the password. She thought she was slick for changing it last month, but she used our anniversary, backwards. Subtle, Mallory. Real subtle. The second I got in, I went straight for the texts. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely scroll. At first, it looked clean. No messages from Kellen at all. Like he didn't exist. But then I checked her recently deleted. 67 threads. She'd wiped everything before the party. Every call. Every photo. Every message. Except she missed something. A single screenshot still sitting there, buried under random junk. I opened it. It was a photo of a hotel room booking confirmation. Her name. His initials. A reservation for 2. Last weekend. The same weekend she told me she was visiting her sister for self-care and space. I stared at it so long my eyes burned. There was a note typed under the reservation. Can't wait to have you all to myself this time. No more hiding. That's when I dropped the phone. Literally. It slid off my lap and clattered onto the hardwood floor like it knew the weight of what it had just shown me. My hands were numb. My body was cold. I just sat there, staring at nothing. How long had this been going on? How many girls' weekends were just covers for motel beds and whispered lies? The worst part? She planned this whole night. She chose this party. She knew I'd get a call. My brother always melts down around rent week. She set this up. I wasn't an obstacle. I was just background noise. Her fool. The guy who'd bring her a drink while she snuck off with her lover. I finally picked up the phone and did something I never thought I'd do. I took a photo of the screen. The hotel booking. The message. I sent it to myself. Then I sent it to her. No words. No caption. Just the image. 30 seconds later, I heard footsteps racing down the hall. The door burst open so fast it hit the wall behind it, and there she was. Mallory. Breathless. Eyes wide. That plum lipstick now almost completely faded, except for the faint smears still staining the corner of her mouth like a scar. She looked at the phone in my hand, then up at me. For a second, I actually thought she was going to pretend like nothing happened. Like I had somehow misunderstood a completely unmissable truth. But then she saw the screen still lit up in my palm, the hotel confirmation. Her whole expression cracked. She didn't speak. Not right away. She just blinked, then stepped inside and shut the door behind her like we were about to have a civil conversation, like she wasn't still carrying the scent of someone else's cologne. I stayed seated. I didn't trust my legs to work anymore. She leaned against the bookshelf, arms crossed, trying to act composed. But I saw it. The twitch in her jaw, the nervous tapping of her fingers, the flash of panic behind her pupils. "What do you want me to say, Eli?" she asked, voice low. I almost laughed. What did I want her to say? That she was sorry? That it was a mistake? That it meant nothing? No answer was going to fix what I'd already seen. She kept going, like that question somehow opened the floodgates. I didn't plan for it to go this far. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It just happened. That word. Happened. Like it was a spilled drink. A clumsy accident. Not a choice. Not something she nurtured and fed behind my back for who knows how long. I asked her one question. Just one. How long? She hesitated. And that told me everything before her mouth even opened. 3 months, she finally whispered. But I wanted to end it. I really did. 3 months. 90 days. While I was staying late at work to keep up with bills. While I was planning a surprise weekend away for our anniversary. While I was helping her mom recover from surgery. She was checking into hotels with him. And now she wanted to talk about ending it? I stood up. Slowly. Not to yell. Not to threaten. Just because I couldn't sit in that chair another second without feeling like I'd disappear. I walked past her, brushing her shoulder, and she flinched. Not because she was scared, but because she thought I might say something cruel. I didn't. But just as I reached the door, she said something I'll never forget. It wasn't just about him. I turned. It was about us, Eli. About you. You've been distant. You've been checked out. I needed to feel something again. There it was. The shift. The deflection. The classic turn-it-on-you routine. I shook my head, barely able to process what I was hearing. So you cheated because I worked too much? I said. Because I got quiet when you started locking your phone? She didn't answer. I opened the door. You know what, Mallory? You wanted to feel something? I hope this, right now, burns into your memory. Because it's the last time you'll ever see me beg for the truth. And I walked out. She didn't follow. But Kellen did. I heard his footsteps behind me before I saw him. Slow, deliberate. Like he wanted me to know he wasn't in a hurry. That smug confidence was practically radiating off of him. I didn't turn around at first. I couldn't. I was gripping the stair railing, white-knuckled, trying to convince myself not to lose control in a hallway full of strangers. But when I finally looked over my shoulder, there he was, Kellen. Shirt untucked, sleeves rolled, smirk ready. Like this was a game. Like I was just the guy who lost. I guess you found out, he said. Calm. So damn casual. Like we were talking about the weather. I couldn't believe it. No apology. No shame. Just that irritating tone of someone who felt above consequences. I didn't answer him. I just stared. Maybe he expected me to swing, to yell, to crack in front of him. But I was done giving him or her anything. What I did instead hit harder than any punch ever could. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, and turned the screen toward him. The hotel reservation. His name. Her name. The date. The note. All of it. He glanced at it, nodded like he'd seen it before, which of course he had, and then said, If you want me to back off, just say it. That's when it hit me. He didn't think he did anything wrong. In his mind, he hadn't betrayed anyone. I had simply lost her. I was just the guy who failed to keep her interested. And he swooped in, as if that somehow made it okay. You really think you can keep her? I asked, my voice shaking in a way that made me hate myself. He smiled like I was pathetic. I'm not trying to keep anyone. I'm just not stopping her. That was it. That was the moment something inside me just broke. I didn't yell. I didn't swing. I just stared at him, really stared, and saw it. The type of man who doesn't build anything. He just waits for others to break what they've built so he can walk through the rubble and pretend he earned it. I didn't give him the satisfaction of reacting. I stepped past him, walked back into the apartment, and did something that made everyone go silent. I raised my voice, not loud, but loud enough, and said, Hey, just so everyone knows, my wife and Kellen have been sleeping together for months. You might want to wipe down the guest bathroom. People froze. Conversations died mid-sentence. A drink slipped from someone's hand. The music kept playing, ironically upbeat, but all eyes were on me. Mallory was standing near the window, already pale. Her mouth opened slightly, but she didn't say a word. Then I walked straight to the front door, opened it, and left. No one followed this time. Not even her. I got in my car, sat there for what felt like hours, and realized something strange. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat, completely hollow, like someone had scraped me out from the inside and left the shell to figure things out. But it wasn't over. Because the next morning, I got a call. From Kellen's girlfriend. The call came in just after 9 the next morning. My phone buzzed twice before I picked it up, still half asleep on my couch, surrounded by cold takeout, unopened mail, and silence. I hadn't even changed clothes. I hadn't slept properly. Just drifted in and out of consciousness with the TV glowing in the background, too tired to process anything, too wired to rest. The number was unfamiliar. I almost didn't answer. But I did. Is this Eli? The voice asked. Female. Calm, but clipped. Like she was holding something sharp behind her teeth. Yeah, I said, confused. Who's this? There was a pause. Then she said it. My name's Lainey. Well, I was Kellen's girlfriend. I sat up instantly. She took a breath, then continued. I saw your number come through on his phone last night. I thought I recognized it, so I checked his messages. Then I saw everything. The hotel booking, the texts with your wife, screenshots of pictures. He even saved voice notes from her. Voice notes. God, I didn't even know that was part of it. I had only scratched the surface. I'm so sorry, she said, but it didn't sound like pity. It sounded like someone who understood exactly what I felt. Not just betrayal, but the hollow, sinking ache that you gave your heart to someone who treated it like a disposable receipt. Lainey explained they'd been together for almost 2 years. On and off. Mostly off, because, as she said, Kellen doesn't do commitment. He does chaos. She said she'd had suspicions before. Late nights, strange excuses, and the way he guarded his phone like it held state secrets. But she never had proof. Not until she saw my message. He's not even sorry, she said. I confronted him this morning. He told me it wasn't serious. That it was just some emotional mess he walked into by accident. Like you and Mallory were some soap opera he happened to star in. My head started spinning again. Mallory had said she wanted to feel something. Now Kellen was acting like none of this mattered. Like the damage didn't exist. Like our lives were just background noise in their ego trips. Lainey asked if we could meet. Just talk. Share what we knew. She sounded hurt, but not hysterical. Sharp. Focused. I said yes. I didn't even hesitate. We met that afternoon at a little coffee shop near the freeway. She wore a dark coat, hair pulled back, no makeup, but her eyes were alert, calculating. She slid a manila envelope across the table without saying a word. Inside were printouts, screenshots, emails, even a photo of Mallory and Kellen holding hands in a parking lot 2 towns over. I don't know if you're planning to confront her again, she said. But just in case you ever doubt what you saw, now you'll know. I stared down at the pictures, something in my chest pulling tighter with every image. This wasn't just an affair. It was a second life. A version of her that existed without me. Smiling. Flushed. Free. Lainey leaned in and said something I'll never forget. I think they were planning to leave us. But not yet. Not until they got what they wanted. And that's when it clicked. The money. The credit card charges Mallory said were for wedding gifts and friends' birthdays. The new dress she said she bought on sale. The cash advance she took out last week for an emergency. I hadn't put it together. Not until now. I wasn't just being cheated on. I was being used. And they were getting ready to disappear. But not if I disappeared first. I didn't say a word to Mallory after that day. Not a single message. No angry texts. No late-night calls. Nothing. I went silent. Not because I was weak, but because I was finally awake. And I knew that if I made a single wrong move, she'd flip the narrative. Turn herself into the victim. And me into the bitter, possessive husband who couldn't let go. So I gave her exactly what she wanted. Space. The next morning, I left for work like usual. Kissed her on the cheek. She flinched. Not because she didn't want me to, but because she knew I knew. And that kiss meant something different now. She didn't ask about the night before. She didn't bring up the party, or the fact that I exposed them in front of a room full of people. She acted like none of it happened. That was her talent, detachment, rewriting reality. She was waiting for me to explode so she could feel justified in leaving. But I didn't give her that. Instead, I started packing a little each night after she fell asleep. Quiet. One drawer at a time. I removed my name from our joint account first. Transferred my paycheck to a private one she didn't know existed. I called my buddy Jonah and told him I'd take the spare room he'd been offering me for months. The one I always said I didn't need. I canceled our vacation. Canceled our gym membership. Cut the utilities into her name. All of it. Slowly. Cleanly. She never noticed. She was too busy planning her next weekend trip, which I now knew meant another sleazy hotel meetup with Kellen. Lainey kept feeding me updates, by the way. Turns out she wasn't just angry, she was brilliant. She had already installed tracking software on Kellen's phone after catching him cheating once before. She never deleted it. That's how she knew where they were. When they met. What they booked. What they spent. So I started documenting everything. Receipts. Transactions. Messages. Location data. Just in case. Because if Mallory ever tried to spin this in court, and I had a feeling she would, I needed to be 10 steps ahead. And I was. For once, I finally was. But the real turning point came when she brought up the topic she had been circling around for weeks. Divorce. She came home late on a Thursday, smelling like wine, her hair messier than usual, phone buzzing in her pocket. She didn't even sit down, just leaned against the fridge and said, "Eli, I think we need to talk." I played dumb. About what? This marriage. It's not working. We're just going in different directions. Different directions. That's what she said. Like I hadn't helped her mother through chemo. Like I hadn't paid her student loans. Like I hadn't supported her job switch, twice. Different directions. I nodded. Yeah, you're right. It's time. Her eyebrows lifted. She wasn't expecting agreement. She thought I'd beg. She thought I'd cling. But I didn't. And that shook her more than if I'd yelled. I told her I'd already seen a lawyer. That the paperwork was ready. That I wouldn't contest anything if she signed now. No spousal support. No drama. Just a clean break. She stared at me, then asked the one thing that gave her away. What about the savings? I smiled. Gone. It wasn't, not entirely. But the part that had her name on it? Transferred. Cashed out. Reallocated. In a way that her little weekend boyfriend couldn't trace even if he tried. She stood there frozen. I could see her running numbers in her head, trying to calculate what she could still get, what she thought she was owed. But I wasn't hers anymore, and I was done paying for her affair. When she finally left, that same weekend, suitcase in hand, pretending to cry like she didn't already have a hotel room booked, I didn't stop her. I held the door. I said goodbye, and that was it. Or so I thought. Until 2 weeks later, she showed up at my new place, crying for real this time. She looked different when she showed up at my new place. Not physically, no dramatic haircut or ruined makeup, but something behind her eyes had cracked. The confidence she wore like armor? Gone. The performative calm? Gone. She was shaking when she knocked. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Mallory stood there, holding a brown tote bag like it contained the apology she never gave. Her voice was soft, careful. Eli, can we talk? I let her in, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't need to be afraid of her anymore. I wasn't the man she left behind. I wasn't the fool begging for crumbs of attention. I was free now. And when you're free, you don't fear ghosts. You just watch them pass through. She walked around like she couldn't believe it. Like she didn't expect me to land on my feet. Like she thought I'd be in some dingy place, drinking alone and replaying her betrayal on a loop. But I wasn't. Jonah's place had become a peaceful escape. I cleaned it up, bought new furniture, started painting again, something I gave up years ago to make time for her needs. I messed everything up, she said suddenly, sitting down like the weight of it all finally landed. I don't even know why I let it happen. I didn't respond. I just watched her. She pulled out a small envelope and pushed it toward me. Inside was a check, her half of the apartment's security deposit. She said it was the last thing she owed me, that it was all she had left from her fresh start, that Kellen had left her 2 days after she moved in with him, took what he could and disappeared. She had no job, no friends who believed her side of the story, and no plan. I thought he loved me, she whispered, but he just wanted to win. It was quiet for a long time. Then I said, you didn't lose because of him. You lost because you bet against someone who would have done anything for you. Her lip trembled. She asked if there was any chance to fix things. I stood up, walked to the door, and opened it. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I just said, I'm not angry anymore. That's how I know it's really over. She looked like she might fall apart, but she nodded. She knew. When she left, I didn't watch her go. That night, I slept deeply for the first time in years. And a few weeks later, I met someone new. Not through an app, not at a bar, but in the paint aisle of a hardware store, where she helped me choose a brush set and asked if I'd ever tried oil on canvas. Her name's Mira. She listens. She asks questions. She laughs in a way that doesn't feel like she's hiding behind it. She doesn't treat my silence like a weakness. She lets me be me. And I let her in slowly, carefully, because now I know how valuable trust really is. Mallory became a memory, a lesson, not a wound. And I became someone I never thought I'd be again. Happy, not in spite of everything I lost, but because of everything I finally let go.